Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my lovely friends out there in the amazing world of TV land. How are you guys? Hope you had a good day today. And of course, Jummah Mubarak to each and every one of you. Hope you had an excellent Jummah today, inshallah. Woo! We've reached the end of the week, but you know what? We've still got some goodies in store for you. Point of fact, I've got a goodie right next to me right now. Aayan Ibikunle Shoderu is a 28-year-old Muslim actor, writer and director from West London with Nigerian roots. He trained at the Guildhall School of Drama and Music and has staged his own play entitled Camp Drill. Aayan has appeared in well-known shows such as Casualty and EastEnders, and has starred in short films including Area Boy and BBC iPlayer and Tribal Mark by Skepta. Welcome to the show, brother. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah, how are you?
Great to have you on the show, mashallah. You're looking very dapper. Give me some. You give me a run for my money over here, man.
I'm trying.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to represent here. You just smashing up my style. Brother, please tell us, acting is one of those trades that, we see all the time, but we don't know why people get into it.
Yeah.
What inspired you to become an actor?
I guess it started from when I was young and everyone's trying to find their way to get attention. How could they be the center of attention in the room? And I'll just do little impressions, just talk rubbish or whatever. Then it will carry on into school because I was I wasn't the best in other subjects. Mm-hmm. So then did that and then kept it on in college, but then I took a couple years out because, just to find myself and work and figure things out. Then I refound it my early 20s. And then I auditioned for this charity/course. It's called Open Door. And it helps young actors get into drama schools by paying for auditions, theatre trips. And I auditioned at all the top drama schools you can think of, RADA, Lambda, Guildhall or whatever, and gave me opportunities and then got into drama school and then, that's just history.
Now, as a professional artist and actor, a thespian, if you like, what kind of roles are you attracted to? What kind of a story do you want to tell as an actor? What kind of persona do you want to kind of show the world?
Well, the thing that attracts me is truth. If I can read the scripts or see the story and I can see there's a universal truth in there, immediately I'm drawn to it. And that can be Shakespeare, it could be on screen, it could be something like in EastEnders, where the character I play and that is a bit of a ruffian, but there's still truth in that. Yeah. And that's my job as an actor, to tell the truth. And
because as we were discussing earlier on, it may not be the ideal role, but in terms of his reality, there are people that exist that in the world, and to kind of shy away from that would be disingenuous.
Exactly.
To sort of say, okay, I'm not going to play this because this might be a stereotypical role. And there are plenty of other positive black role models in EastEnders anyway, so I think there's a fair, good balance there.
It's good to show the whole palette.
Yeah, the whole palette, mashallah. Now, I know you've done some stage work and you've done some TV work. Do you have a preference?
Do you know what, I've just been understanding, recently I've been getting to know the beauty of screen and how, you can tell a story on there and people can watch it years later and talk about, some of my favourites is Training Day, it's got Denzel in there. And people are still talking about that to this day, but there's something, magic about being on a stage. It's something, you can't describe, that it's there, it's live in the room, and once it's gone, it's gone. And then, people who care about theatre and are real, acting geeks will talk about that to years to come. Yeah. But being in a room and seeing, I remember one of the first proper things I saw on stage was there was a show called Cyrano de Bergerac with James McAvoy in it. Okay. And I till this day, I remember being in a room and just seeing him do his thing and being oh my days, I know what I want to do. So to have the power to influence another young person and doing that on stage, it's you can't put a price on it.
I don't know if it's the same, because as a singer, when I'm on stage, especially if it's a packed audience, you can feel a palpable tension in the air. You can feel, and I always heard artists talk about, and actors talk about the atmosphere. And I was like, what are they talking about? But when you're in that environment, you can't really compare it to anything else. So is it like that when you're performing on the stage?
100%, 100%. And being on stage and having the ability, on camera, you're ignoring that the camera is there most of the time, unless it's a comedy and you're looking down the barrel of the lens or whatever. But being on stage and having the ability to look an audience member directly in their eyes and say, "Hey, I'm talking to you," that's it's and you can really hit home with the story you're trying to tell. And like a lot of the work I've written in terms of like Camp Drill or like even some of the solo pieces I wrote in my final year, one of them's called How to Live. It's about young black men and how we live our lives and how we get into certain lifestyles. And it was about mental health and telling a story like that and looking an audience member in their eye, they have to take the message, whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, that you can only really do that properly on a stage.
On stage, that's the records you get, isn't it?
Exactly, that records. Yeah.
Now, in terms of your craft and your faith, you know, I mean, people tend to sort of frown when they hear that Muslims are going into the trade of acting and what have you. Yeah. How have you approached it? How does it influence your work? Your deen, your iman.
For me, like on any set I'm on, I always make sure that I need to pray my salah and whatever. For me, it keeps me grounded. So whether it's that like they're about to roll or they're behind or something, I tell them, yo, I need my 5 minutes, I need my 10 minutes, I need to go pray my salah, I'll come back and things like that. And a lot of the productions I've been on, they've been very understanding. For me, it just gets into like, again, I know the character I played in EastEnders ain't exactly the most positive thing, but for me, like, I think the art of storytelling is universal in any faith, in anything. So having the power to tell a story and portray that message, it's like it's amazing. Especially as a Muslim, there's a real responsibility on us, and that's what I'm trying to do in some of the stories that I'm writing myself. And in the future, hopefully we'll do something on it. All the Muslims will be like, "MashaAllah, look at that, that's amazing." But baby steps.
Inshallah, inshallah. Now, you mentioned training that you mentioned Denzel as well. Yeah. Who else do you look up to in terms of their craft? Because one of the things we discuss outside as well is, you know, that a lot of black actors are going over to the States and they're doing quite well. So, and I imagine they have their own, you know, heroes as well, you know, John Boyega and people like that as well. Who inspires you, and is there any chance of you hopping the pond, so to speak, and leaving us and deserting us once you get big time?
We'll see what Allah has planned. Some of the artists some of the people. First of all, is my mum. My mum is my biggest inspiration. My mum and my dad. Like, if anyone knows me and they know my mum, my dad, you'll see me and go, I get why he does this job. Because my mum and my dad are big personalities, and my dad is a storyteller. That guy can talk for Nigeria and England combined. So I think that's where I get it from. But in terms of artists, I'd probably have to say people like Michaela Cole. She made a show called like I May Destroy You. And that show literally changed my perception on life. And it was about a young woman who experiences sexual assault, and she goes through the journey of like the ramifications of that, and it's just like it's amazing. And it came out in lockdown as well, where everyone was like really socially aware. So yeah, people like Michaela Cole, obviously Daniel Kaluuya, Ryan Coogler.
Yeah, Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Say that again?
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yes, exactly.
Serious heavyweights. Like
yeah. But yeah. And my friends inspire me as well. My friends, because I got a lot of friends who are creative. So yeah.
Now let's talk about your character on EastEnders, Oki.
Let's talk about.
How did you get the role of Oki?
Do you know what? Yeah, the story is not as jam-packed as you think. Like a lot of the time, it's like you'll start off doing a self-tape. So you've got your phone, you've got a tripod, you might have a light in your room, and you have a backdrop, and you say the lines with someone that's off screen. Usually they'll call you in for another round, depending on the show and the size of it. They might call you in for multiple rounds. You might be auditioning for months and not hear back and things like that. But for me, I did one self-tape for EastEnders, and then got a call like 3 days later from my agent saying, yep, they want to give you the role.
Wow.
And initially, I was meant to be on it for like 13 weeks, but they extended the storyline because I think, especially with the new producer, Ben Wadey, he really wanted to get stuck into that story and see all the different sides of it. And I think as we were seeing Oki transition into different parts, it got a bit more jam-packed.
Yes, a bit more involved with the characters. And
definitely.
I mean, in terms of, I don't know who watches EastEnders out there, because my wife still watches it. And are we going to do any spoilers? What happens to him at the end? Because it's been a while now. I do know what happens.
It's been a couple of weeks. He doesn't have the most positive ending. That's what I'll say. But for me, it was important that he had that ending because I used to be a teacher. Actually, I'm still a teacher. I don't know why I'm talking. I'm still a teacher. I teach kids acting on Saturdays, yeah. And for me, I don't want like young kids to watch this and think like the lifestyle Oki lives is cool. So the fact that he gets that ending is, for me, it was a cautionary tale. Yeah. That goes, this is what this is what can happen when
crime
you get involved
don't pay.
in stuff like exactly. And it's quite dark, but for me, stories that have dark aspects attract me because that's real life. Yeah. It's not always glitz and glamour. It's not always nice. You're not always in a nice studio like this with cameras and things like that. It can get dark if you don't go down the right path.
Yeah. I think that the kind of the story of the villain seemed to be quite topical because you've got films like The Joker, you know, you've got Deadpool, you've got you know, a Peacemaker. These are traditional kind of villains or anti-heroes. So I think people are attracted to the darker side of characters and reality because, as you said, it is something that exists, and it would be unfair and disingenuous of us not to show what happens. But if there's something you can learn from it, it's not evil for evil's sake. No. They're not just being rude for the sake of being rude. There's actually a point to it, inshallah. So what about your future aspirations? Are there anything on the horizon that you're doing right now?
Yeah, we got some things lined up.
What you working on, bruv?
We got some things lined up. You'll see it when it comes out. But yeah, we're working on different things. But I'm just really like blessed to like have worked on the things I have worked on, and like you said, Area Boy, or like or when I was in a short film made by Skepta, Tribal Mark, and things like that, and even my own work. I'm just really blessed to have been in those positions, and there's things going on behind the scenes, but I don't really talk too much on that one. You'll see when it comes out, inshallah.
Yeah. Tell us about because you're acting as writer producer for some of these plays. Yeah. Why is it important for artists to get behind their work on a financial business level, as you know, as apart from being the artist and learning your lines, what have you? Why is it important to be behind the camera as well, or behind the stage, or whatever the case is?
The real control happens off stage, off camera. A lot of the time, like you see your Idris Elba's, your John Boyega's, even Damson in like Snowfall in the later seasons, he became a producer on the show, and that's when you get real creative control. That's when you can really influence decision making in terms of the arc a character goes on. And if you're just an actor in it, you just got to hope and pray that you're cool with the producers. But where you're a producer yourself, you can go, no, I don't think that this makes sense, and they can have a meeting and things like that. Especially if you're the writer. But even then, as the writer, like once your story gets sold to whoever the studio is or the production company can change it. But when you're a producer, that's where it really gets interesting. And like we were talking about outside, depending on the names that are attached to the projects, like I know on
you were saying about Adolescence.
Yeah, on Adolescence, Stephen Graham was and Brad Pitt as well. They were producers on that, and even the voice of Hin Rajab, they had producers attached to that, and they could take it to certain film festivals because of their names attached to it. So my aspirations is to build up a CV so I can get to that point where I can go, hey, Aayan's attached to this, green light it, we want it here, go here, but it starts off, you got to do the EastEnders, then the other shows, and then, yeah.
And final question, in terms of young actors from the Muslim community or young people who have an aspiration to be actors, what advice would you give them? I mean, I always, because Hollywood films and TV, it does have a kind of a tinge to it. People are very weary of it. And in my own experience, I mentioned before, stuff I've done on films, I've had a very positive, but I'm in and out. So for me, it's not an issue. But in terms of you're there on a regular basis, what advice would you give to somebody who has an aspiration to be an actor?
I say two main things. First of all, like most important, keep Allah first, keep God first. Whatever faith you are, keep God first, and everything else will fall in line. Like for me, like even how EastEnders came along, I remember it was like it was just after Ramadan finished, and it was in I was fasting the 6 days sunnah after, and I literally got the call, I got the job on the last day of fasting. So So keep Allah first. That's what I'd say. And then after that, ask yourself the question, why do you want to do this? Because you see people all the time get involved in this industry. They like the glitz, they like the glamour, they like this. But ask yourself why, and your why needs to be strong. Do you want it because you want to do it for the money? Okay, that might be a decent why. Do you want to do it because you're passionate about telling stories? Okay, do that. But have your why, have a strong reason, and make it attached to your deen.
Yeah.
If it's not, it will crumble. I promise you, it will crumble at some point. So,
excellent, excellent advice. Aayan, thank you so much. And
worries.
thanks for
Jazakallah
coming along. Thanks for the work you're doing, representing us and keeping it real. I really, really admire you. Thank you so much for coming in. We wish you all the best in the future, inshallah. Hopefully we'll get you on again when you hit the big time. I mean the big, big, big time.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you once again, brother. Jazakallah. Right, my friends, that was interesting, isn't it? Well, hey, I enjoyed that. Right, guys, listen, we're going to go for a quick break, but we will be back in a short while, so don't go anywhere. See you in a bit.